Okay, let's make a start then because I'm conscious of people's time. And again, just like to welcome anybody who's attended one of our monthly webinars before back, and good to see you again. And equally, a very warm welcome to anybody joining for the first time. So, got a very busy session, quite a lot to cover. And what I think I'll do is just get straight into it with, I guess, beginning with what you might say. Slight apology. John, our CEO, who normally holds these sessions, isn't actually isn't able to be here today. So I am Andrew Milne and I'm the COO of Vaboo. Been with the company a couple of years, so I'm going to lead you through this session and hopefully cover everything in the same way John would have done. So with that in mind, I'm going to just kind of talk you through the agenda. It's outside of the introduction, going to look at just a couple of minutes talking about some of the challenges that we feel from information we've had from existing and prospective clients about the market itself. And then moving on to really the crux of the session around the importance of customer service, and then looking at the solutions that our platform can hopefully bring to your business in the future. And then once we've gone through the solutions and a quick overview of what the platform actually can deliver, we'll then kind of finish with any questions at the end. So I just want to take a couple of minutes really to talk about understanding your current challenges. And I've just condensed this into really a top three. I appreciate there's probably a lot more, but first and foremost, over 100 agents that we did speak to told us that the primary issue is really a negative experience between tenant and landlord, which generally relates to customer service. So this is really standing out as the main gripe or real challenge, I guess, that agents are dealing with on a pretty continual basis. Secondly, we know from, again, lots of feedback and an understanding of the market that getting new instructions is tough. The demand for property remains high. We all know that, but it's the supply that continues to be the problem. And in terms of securing new instructions, obviously, standing out from the competition is difficult. And one of the main pitfalls that today's session is trying to highlight is not to fall into the trap of trying to compete on price necessarily to get that business. And then lastly, just the principle behind the revenue and margin challenges. So we know the tenant fee ban had an impact on revenues. We know that sometimes combating that conversely could be increasing fees, which has a negative impact, or as I alluded to before, new entrants coming into the market, digital operations, undercutting on price makes it even harder to kind of remain competitive and remain profitable. So just in terms of taking those points and bringing them to life with a couple of quotes, I think this first one really, really resonates. I feel like I have to advertise the lowest possible rates to secure any new business, which makes me feel cheap and nasty, but I'm not sure how else to compete. So today's session is really going to kind of challenge that. And I think there is a really well-known or well understood theory around the fact that, if you can truly demonstrate quality and value of service, people are prepared to pay more for that. Secondly, do you understand how hard it is to do a great job of taking care of your existing customers? And obviously that's orientated around the service angle, while so much pressure to find new ones. And lastly, being stuck between landlords and tenants is exhausting. So again, recognizing that not only are these challenges in terms of business growth and business potential on a day-to-day basis, it's a tough gig to constantly have to deal with the daily challenge that these issues bring. So talking just about the principles between competing on value and service, I've just put down here just a few kind of bullets. Some of these will probably stand out as being reasonably self-explanatory, but building lasting client relationships is really important. And ways in which people can do that is holding client appreciation events or offering kind of personalized consultations, really engaging with customers and clients to provide, up-to-date industry reports, etc. And then enhanced reputation and differentiation in the crowded marketplace. So enhancing your reputation could be anything from just engaging in the community at large, supporting local businesses, um, actively focusing on, I guess, and a strong customer service ethos. And I guess, rolling that into, a differentiation, we're going to really come on to this. Um, but offering, comprehensive concierge services or relocation assistance, lots of ways in which your proposition can actually kind of, differ and, a certain or a singular USP really kind of being able to make you stand out. I think the price sensitivity issue is obviously at the crux of this, really trying to make sure that, people aren't focused on price. And I guess focusing on price as a competitive factor almost becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because clients become more price sensitive. So, ways in which that can be dealt with is, clarity and transparency for one, um, being flexible around payment plans, for example. But I guess the main point is, not to get overly focused on price and really focus on, I guess, these last couple of points around, customer satisfaction and customer engagement. So really, understanding, how you can improve that customer satisfaction, ways in which, that's achieved can be through asking the question as to, how do your customers feel? And again, this is going to be, the next kind of core part of the presentation around understanding, surveying, getting feedback, looking at insights. And in terms of improved customer engagement, yeah, improving your comms channels, maybe looking at, broadening out from traditional media into social media, leveraged in technology maybe for, virtual property viewings. All of these things can help kind of really boost that customer engagement. But for the purpose of this session, really, what I wanted to start with talking about is to understand what your customers think is really the key to driving better service. So when we talk about customer service, the starting point has to be to understand the service that you provide. And in addition to that, as we've touched on before, in terms of standing out in the market, a genuine point of differentiation. But in terms of improving your service, bringing to life the Vaboo support, understanding from an insights perspective is such a key part of really, really getting to grips with where your service sits, and providing through our service you with data about your tenants, your landlords, and your properties helps us and helps you to first and foremost effortlessly monitor and improve your customer service. And equally, through getting those insights, it can really unlock a lot of really powerful data insights as well in terms of, your customers' wants, needs, future plans, etc. And really honing in on the opportunity to, unlock potential property purchase or sales intentions. So taking these 2 points one at a time, in terms of the customer service and monitoring side of things, the power of a customer service review is really, really strong. So in terms of surveying customers to understand how they perceive your service can really, really bring so many benefits. So through the Vaboo platform, we will engage with your customers on a regular basis. And this information can then first and foremost provide you with an aggregated customer rating. So using MPS, you would get a very quick understanding of what your customers really kind of rate your service as it is today. And of course, on an ongoing basis, enables you to see how that rating is potentially changing over time. But equally importantly, what it really helps you do is identify, those people or those customers you have in your database who love what you do. You know, they are your advocates. They are the people who are giving you 9, 10 out of 10s, and actually being able to get to those people, to find those people, and then get them to encourage their promotion of you is a really, really powerful piece. Now, really what this means in terms of, you know, tangible kind of results is it's about then enabling the advocacy within your business through referral incentives or Google reviews to really kind of push that positive message relating to your business, to your brand out to the wider community. And that's a very, very powerful benefit. Equally, you will have areas within your service that may need may need some attention, may need improvement, areas that you may not even have been aware of, things that could relate to a tenant moving in process, or something to do with the billing process. Understanding where the challenges or the elements that maybe not quite so perfect exist is really, really invaluable as well. And the first and the reason for that is it first allows you to fix things before they become complaints. So if you can start to see areas that are needing a little bit more focus, then you're effectively nipping it in the bud. So, I think the service angle and going on to improving that customer service all starts with the insights and getting your customer base to tell you what they really think. So how does it work? Well, it's pretty simple. As I mentioned before, regular customer surveys and touch points. So, asking your customers on a regular, monthly basis, what their thoughts are around the service, incentivizing those responses with prize draws. So the key engagement tool we have is enabling people to actually win a month's rent by entering their data into the survey. And as I touched on before, a very simple and easy scoring system. So I mentioned Net Promoter Score, NPS, which is recognized as a bit of an industry standard. So it's quick, simple, and very, very easy to understand. And then there's the ability to equally get into specific areas of your service. So, tailoring certain questions. If there was an area that you specifically wanted to understand, then tailoring the survey to look at that is a really, really key benefit of the actual surveying process. And this then finally kind of lands in the context of that free form feedback. So it's not just, a rating or a tick box. It's allowing people to give you that detail that can really help understand the customer perspective or the customer issue a little bit more. So what does this then really do? So through looking at all the data that we collect and seeing how that data can be used, really positively, what we've seen is that our clients actually increase their customer satisfaction by 45% within 12 months. So that's increasing their customer service rating. And as I said before, if you can then harness that rating improvement, identify those advocates and start pushing those into the wider kind of marketplace around Google reviews, etc., that can deliver so much incremental benefit. And I guess with that in mind, I just wanted to play you a couple of quick snippets from a couple of clients who, have really kind of seen and harnessed the benefits of this. So the first one is from Sam Whitehead, and he's at the Accommodation Bureau. So I'll play this and then we'll quickly run on to another one.
I think there's always that kind of fear from agents of getting those bad reviews. Internally, we're confident that we're a good agency and offer a good service to tenants. We still never did ask for reviews out of fear of those bad ones. But Vaboo, as part of their service, behind the scenes, they ask tenants, would you recommend the Accommodation Bureau to a family member or friends? They get a rating out of 10. We were logging into our dashboard and seeing consistently 8, 9s and 10s across hundreds of tenants in our portfolio. And then we thought, hang on, we are doing a good job. We need to harness that and get some Google reviews. So we did a campaign here in the office. And so we went from low, like 10 or 12 reviews. Then about 12 months later, we've got over 140 reviews and we've got a 4.9 rating. In the last 6 months, more and more landlords calling us and they say, oh, I've seen you on Google or I've been on your website and seen your reviews. And we just wouldn't have got that beforehand. So yeah, the Google reviews have so benefited us.
Great. I mean, I think what Sam said there, really brings to life the power of the Google reviews. And I think a core part of our service that we're developing at the moment as well is very much around trying to do the heavy lifting on behalf of our clients. So, if we can find those advocates within the data within your database, let us try and get those Google reviews on your behalf. Let us do the engagement piece. So whilst the accommodation bureau were proactive, a key part for us is about trying to help you, get that rating up, because you can see just from Sam's experience here at the accommodation bureau how that's translated into incremental business. So I think a very, very powerful story. And
I
secondly,
think
this is a client from Moss Properties. This is Frances Bowling, and she's going to just explain a little bit more about it from their perspective.
So we initially started using it for our tenants as an incentive for them to rent a property with us as opposed to any competitor because of the discounts. But the questions that they ask tenants on moving in creates us an NPS score. So this also gives me a good idea of, did we rush any of these move-ins? Is there any room for changing our processes? Is it the same feedback coming up? This is where you go from good to exceptional, because you are, making the opportunities. And Vaboo helps us with that, because then we'll just pop that into a diary and a call list. Very clever system, to be honest, because we're promoting it as you've got all these exclusive discounts. But obviously, the information and data that we're getting from that is far greater to us than just saying, here's our discount system and our platform exclusively for you. And then you also get another opportunity to re-request feedback. So we're very proactive in the fact that if we've got anything less than a 7, why? We'll take the time to have a call with that client and understand what's going to make it better for you. What did you expect? Because we want to make this experience better for anybody else who's going to be in your situation. And then because they see that we've taken the time out to actually acknowledge their thoughts and feelings, we can then re-request feedback from them. So obviously tenants start singing our praises and word of mouth goes round. But I think Vaboo are constantly evolving as well. They've recognised this platform doesn't just need to be for tenants. So we've also started putting on their landlords, which again is good for feedback. So I can see if we need more landlords, where did you see us? What was the source of you coming to us? What did you like about us? So we can emphasise on that more in our market.
So I think, again, Frances makes a couple of really good points. She obviously reinforces the perspective from Sam in terms of looking at driving, improved Google reviews, etc. And I think the landlord piece that she references is a really, really important part of the proposition, because I think the landlords are as pivotal within your client base as the tenants themselves. So being able to support both elements of your kind of customer base is really key. I think what's interesting with what Francis said as well is that there's a lot of focus on how they have been using really the insights where things aren't so good positively as well. So I think it was great to draw that out from her kind of summary. And equally, she did do a little bit of a spoiler alert. She talked a lot about the kind of discount and the reward platform. Now that's the second part that we'll come on to in a minute. So I guess that's a little kind of preempt on that side of things. But before we get into that, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the other areas of customer insight. So the last kind of 5-10 minutes, really focusing on, I guess, the customer insights relating purely to service. But as we touched on in the intro, actually surveying customers, your customers, to understand what their future plans are is really, really exciting as well, in terms of being able to identify and unlock new opportunities. So for example, we will ask customers, are they thinking of moving or buying a property, and then we put date ranges around that from 0 to 3 months to 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12, 12 to 24, etc. So this enables our agents to engage with customers at the right time, understand just before they go into a full exploratory process, what their needs are, being able to therefore be first in line to service those, whether that's selling them property or selling their property again if it's a landlord who is maybe considering exit. And as part of that kind of purchase cycle, there's all the ancillary opportunities around financial services, mortgage advice, home moving solutions, all of that part of the kind of broader proposition gives you that kind of incremental kind of revenue opportunity, I guess. So in terms of how this kind of translates into tangibles, which is obviously the core part of it. I mean, first and foremost, providing you with so much more data than you've had previously. So we're finding this information and giving it you in exactly the kind of time frame that you would want. So as it says on the right hand side of this slide, around 40% plus of more revenue generating data within just a 6-month period. And if you then try and take some of those points and I guess kind of extrapolated into, well, what is that actually meaning in terms of opportunity? So we have looked at our data that we've gathered for clients, and on average, each client is probably getting somewhere just shy of 100 opportunities, from their existing customer base to discuss mortgage needs. So, this doesn't necessarily have to be linked to a home move. It could be a remortgage, and this is again fundamentally focusing on your landlord piece, as well as actually it could be your existing sellers and vendors. Vendors and purchasers. And in terms of the kind of new instructions, we believe that this data unlocks around 15 new instruction opportunities. So again, you can start to see the real power of data, why customer service and talking to your customers is so powerful. Now, the second part, as Frances alluded to in her testimonial, is the importance of being able to stand out in the market through a point of differentiation. So the customer service angle is so important, but equally being able to provide your customer base with something that is a real point of differentiation is equally important. And this is where our reward and discount platform comes in. So if you think of the service almost on two levels, there is the data proposition, and then there is the front end consumer piece, which relates to really providing your customers with access to money saving offers, discounts on everyday essential shopping brands, which I'll explore and show you in a minute or two. As we said before with the surveys, linking those into prize draws, delivering all of this under a fully branded platform, and ultimately just showing your customers that you care, that you are there for them. So this negativity that we touched on right at the very beginning around the challenges of customer complaints, the negative attitude, the fractious relationship, all of that starts to improve, because ultimately you're helping them with the rising cost of living. And in today's environment, we all know how important that is. So what I'm going to do now is just quickly show you a little bit of the platform. This is just a kind of illustration of how the platform looks and feels. So this is where your brand would sit, covering your logo, your color palettes, your font, etc. And under here, you can start to see a feel for the brands that we work with. And as I said, everyday cost of living. So your plus nets and BTs and skies for your mobile and your utilities, through to everyday kind of key brands around household improvements with B&Q, the supermarket brands you'll see on there, and really trying to make sure that we can provide a real help with everyday everyday purchases. So with that in mind, I'm just going to click us through onto the website, which should have been ready to go through. And this is where you can see this is a dummy account, but it starts to show you all the categories first and foremost that we have. So here you get a feel for the breadth of the reward platform. And it really kind of sits across two levels. We have kind of lots of tactical here and now offers. So you can see from Simply Cook to USwitch, going through the categories, we've got deals with the AA as one. But the other side of this is if I scroll back up, I'm going to show you that there's a very, very powerful section on the reward cards. And the reward cards, I'll go straight to groceries, is where you actually purchase a card at a discounted rate. So this is where the real kind of everyday savings come into their own. And you can see here, the brands across, apologies, the core supermarkets. So your Iceland, Morrison's, Asda, Tesco, Farm Foods, Sainsbury's, this is where if you're doing your weekly shop and you're saving 4-5% every time you do that on kind of, £400 a month, and then work out that saving £20, £25 a month saving times 12, suddenly, you're saving 200, £300, £400 a year just on your supermarket spend. So I think, the purpose of this kind of overview is just to really show the not just the breadth of the rewards, but the real value that they can bring. So I'm going to flip back now to the presentation and just going to show you quickly. I think now we've kind of shown the discount platform, albeit at a fairly kind of high level. Just explore a little bit more about the real kind of features of the Vaboo platform. So we've covered quite a lot of ground in terms of the reward side and the customer data side. But if we just kind of take a minute just to kind of remind ourselves of really the value of the service that you would receive. So first and foremost, as I've said, there's the branding. So your logo, your images, your color scheme, your tone of voice, and the ability for you to tailor that. So adding in or excluding certain offers that you feel would be more appropriate or less relevant to your audience. The insight. So we've talked about the data. So again, just reaffirming the importance of the data that you get that helps you learn about your customers and improve your service levels. The brands. We've just seen those. So again, just a reminder of all the brands and the perks that we bring to those customers of yours to really help them drive not just money saving offers, but I guess knock-on effect of that is the engagement that it delivers, the resonance with that, building a strong customer relationship that was the very first point on the presentation. Really, really reinforcing that you're there for them, and that's really, really powerful. The prize draws, winning up to a month's rent, is an extremely powerful incentive funded by ourselves. And then this is an area I've not really touched on so far. So when I talk about content, what I'm saying here is, aside from the content that we would deliver to your customers to keep them engaged, this is about the ability for you to customize that content. So quite a few of our clients will use the opportunity to promote some of their other services. So for example, if you use Fixflow, then having a link there. So customers who are engaging on the site can quickly and easily access other parts that help you get those I guess contact points or those queries raised quickly, timely, without them necessarily picking up the phone to do so as well. And I mentioned engagement. So engagement is obviously an output. It's one of the things that we can deliver as a consequence of everything that we're putting in front of your customers. But what does that really mean? So when we send emails out, we typically get extremely high, way above average open and click rates. So as you can see there, nearly 50% of all emails being opened. Now, I've worked in similar spaces before, and 22% was considered a success. So you can really see how strong that is. And a 10% click rate against a kind of, I would say, industry standard of 2.5%, again, shows that when you're engaging with people by incentives, surveying, rewards, money saving offers, the engagement there is really, really strong. And ultimately that leads to success, and success is not just around the benefits we've touched on. It's about being able to report that success to you. So not just the data insights, but giving you regular reporting on a quarterly or annual basis, being there to support you on kind of client success calls, looking at promotional strategies. So what I mean by that is how to engage more of your customer base, and looking at kind of the promotional materials. And kind of lastly, the API. So the API is really about the slickness of being able to handle any form of data relating to your customers as you bring new people onto the platform, or sorry, onto your database, or people exit. That ability to have a robust, secure, GDPR compliant API feed is one kind of core solution. If people don't have the ability or desire for API, then we have a multitude of other secure data transfer solutions, and indeed opt-in. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight into the benefits of the program. Just really kind of getting towards the end of the slideshow. Just a reminder of the benefits. We've just talked you through, a kind of visual of those, but in terms of not just what it does, but what does it mean? It can truly transform your customer service reputation. It can really deliver very strong and meaningful member engagement that you don't have to do, that you don't have to spend time and effort in. And as per the reward platform, the USP there, it's providing genuine differentiation for you against your competitors. It's creating efficiencies. All of this stuff is not just stopping the phone ringing as much, but the engagement side, the proactivity of it is being handled by us. So you've got that time that we know so many agents crave to be able to kind of look at, pushing the business forward in terms of, sales growth. And linked to that, there are additional sales opportunities that we've shown that can come through your Google reviews or the data insights. And ultimately, it's about retaining existing customers and increasing lifetime value whilst bringing on new customers as well. So hopefully, that helps illustrate the benefits of the system. I wanted to kind of finish with just a quick reference on our pricing. And the reason for doing so is because as an on-the-market customer, you have exclusive pricing. We have two propositions within our kind of platform. The first one is there is a free solution, and that enables you to have access to all the rewards, excluding the reward cards, but with a fully accessed platform, aggregated customer service data, weekly emails going out to your customers, full onboarding support. The prize draws would be eligible. But equally, we have a premium package, and this is where the exclusive pricing, and that exclusive pricing is 50% off. So it's a really, really strong deal, and it covers a lot of things in addition to that, which really can transform the business, or your business, I should say, to the next level. So it's particularly around the ability to tailor it to your needs. It's about having the individual data access rather than aggregated data. So when we talk about the advocates, or we talk about the specific areas of complaints, it's being able to unlock that. It's about having more access to our resources around social media, PR, reporting. And it's ultimately giving you access to those reward cards. So, where we're talking about the brands kind of bottom left around Tesco, Sainsbury's, B&Q, IKEA, Sky, etc. It's all accessed through that premium proposition. And as you can see here, so you know the 50% off. So normally it's £60 per branch. We operate on a fee structure that is basically a kind of maintenance fee, which is only £30 a month, and then a per user fee, which when you look at the normal size of most customers' portfolios, to kind of make this again into something more tangible or meaningful, it would probably mean on this discounted rate a monthly fee of somewhere between kind of 130 to 160 pounds a month. So when you consider, you know, all the benefits of the data insights, the incremental sales opportunities, the Google review uplifts, etc., it probably starts to look like a fairly compelling ROI argument. But if there is a need to kind of want to get into the pricing in a little bit more detail, I mean, my recommendation is to book a demo with John, our CEO. At the end of this, you'll receive an email that will be triggered later this afternoon that will actually have a link to the recording. It will have a link to a sign up page, and it will also have a link to, you know, booking in some more time with John should you need to. So in terms of the next steps, as I said, there will be an email coming out once you've completed that, and it's a very simple form. We would work with you on a comms plan, a data exchange, and a launch. And ultimately, you know, this is a maximum 30-day process. It's really governed by how quickly you can move, but we would say 30 days. But the truth is, you know, subject to, you know, the kind of pipeline of new clients, a lot less than that. And so I just wanted to finish with Sam again, and just, you know, a minute or so of his views around how he sees the proposition. So I'm just going to play
We want to
Sam.
look after our tenants, because if they're happy, then they're going to have a happy landlord. I've even had some tenants say to our property managers, we've never been treated this nicely by a letting agency before. And then we tell them they're going to have access to a reward platform with discount codes to national and local companies. They seem to love it, and tenants that sign up to it, it's all free of charge. It's part of our service. Then they can enter a monthly competition to win a month's free rent. And we actually had a tenant earlier this year that won their 900 quid rent, and they got it straight from Vaboo. We've grown our lettings portfolio by around 200 properties in the last couple of years. So Vaboo will have played that part in that, and we just can take confidence that we are offering good service to tenants, and they're really great guys there as well. So yeah, I'd definitely recommend them.
Thank you, Sam. So
We want to look.
thank you everybody for your time. I hope that was of interest. Got a couple of minutes before the session's due to end. So if I stop the sharing now, I guess if anybody has any other questions, happy to answer those. Give people a minute or so just to see if there's anything more. But I think, yeah, in summary, you know, what it hopefully proves is that you don't have to compete on price. Customer service is really where you can show your customers and your prospects where you can truly kind of service their needs, make a difference, and give them, you know, that exceptional service. And with exceptional service comes a willingness to pay a proportionate price. So hopefully that was useful. I'm just checking, see if there's any comments come in so far. No, nothing so far. Well, in which case, what I will do is thank you all again for attending. As I said, for those of you who've attended one of these before, good to see you again. Look out for the email that will be coming out later this afternoon. And thank you ever so much for attending our webinar. Thank you for being patient with me, and hopefully speak to you again soon. Thank you.